I really like David Hockney's work, especially his photo collages. The one that really drew me in the most was Pear Blossom Highway. Hockney was aware that cameras push you away. In Pear Blossom Highway, he was trying to pull you in. He called it drawing with a camera. I wanted to draw with video. I could make choices and I could choose where I place each shot. First, I had to pick a scene to film. I chose my living room because that's where I spend the majority of my time. The first thing I did was do a wide panorama of the whole room. I printed the photo so I could work out how many shots I would need to complete the collage. I worked this out by redrawing the scene in my sketchbook and putting a grid pattern on it so I could count how many squares I would have. This was a basic template to show me what shots I needed and how big they would need to be. So I started shooting. I began with the bookshelf on the left. I decided to have quite tight shots as it would look much better in the final piece, and it was very important to keep the shots about the same size, so that meant me keeping the same distance away throughout the shoot. After the first session of shooting, I uploaded them to my computer and made a new composition in After Effects. It was 10,000 by 10,000 pixels. I made it that big so I could have enough room to play around, but I later on changed it to 7,680 by 4,320 to save on the rendering time. I added the panorama to the composition, adding a white solid in front of it and changing the opacity of the panorama to 50%. Then I started moving the shots in. I rescaled and rotated the shots so they would align with the background image. Instead of just having a motionless film at the end, I wanted to add little movements to parts of the scene. I wanted the cat to smile for a couple of seconds, so I pre-composed the cat layer, duplicated it, and masked around the cat's face, isolating it from the background. This was quite easy because I was using a tripod, so I didn't have to track the mask. Then I used the puppet tool inside of After Effects and played around experimenting with the pins. Eventually, I got it to look right. I had an idea that in the film a wind could start blowing the leaves and blow the candle out. So I started filming, I set a timer, and when the timer got to 2 minutes, I turned the hairdryer on and started blowing the leaves. I did this for around 15 seconds each time, so in the different shots I used I could easily sync it up. I did the same with the candles as well, but I didn't have to keep the hairdryer on for 15 seconds. I started the timer, waited until 2 minutes, then blew out the candles. So I wanted the cat's tail to move up and down. First thing I did was get a clean plate without the cat's tail and without the string, just against the background. Then I attached a piece of string to some sellotape, and then stuck that to the back of the cat's tail. And then I started moving the string up and down with my hand, so it would look like the cat was moving its tail. This is what the shot looked like before I removed the string. So I brought the tail into After Effects and put the clean plate behind it. Then I spent about 2 hours rotoscoping the string out of the shot. And I got about halfway through, then I realised that I could do it a much easier way. I could use the key light effect in After Effects and have the screen colour as blue, like the ribbon. Then I just played around with some of the settings. Then I added a square mask around the tail, so you could see the clean plate behind it. I ended up having 3 sessions of shooting, in the end getting 78 shots. After a long time playing around with the shots and moving them into the right position, I ended up with a final film.